for another episode of Raiders Talk of the Nation. Welcome to the show. I'm Kristine Leahy. As the Raiders continue their roller coaster season, we're seeing the team come together like never before. I took a much shorter trip, though, to the UFC Performance Institute, where I talked with the president of the organization. This is very cool. I haven't been here yet.
So this place was built and designed for fighting.
Built and designed for fighting.
Yep. Everything, if we could design and build the perfect arena, this is it.
Oh, I see, because you could control every aspect of it. It wasn't like a typical arena.
100%,
All right,
exactly.
I get it.
When they build
this
arenas.
This is really freaking me out, I have to tell you.
What?
I've been in a boxing ring, I've never been in an octagon. Like, stuff goes down here.
Here we go. Yeah, no, this is
that is blood
splatter,
that is blood.
Correct? That is blood. So we just had the Contender Series. Actually, no, this is probably here from the fight this weekend.
Or it's for fresh blood. That's
I don't know, but yeah, we got blood in here.
Man, I interviewed a boxer who sprayed blood all over me once, but this is next level. How are you? It's been quite a year.
I'm good. It's been a great year for me, yeah.
So this place that you've built here is the best for fighters to train. Who's allowed to come here?
Yeah, anybody that's under contract with us, and we let other people come in. Some of the Las Vegas, Kelsey Plum trains here from the Las Vegas Aces. I know a lot of Olympic athletes come here and train. So yeah, but everybody who's under contract with us can train here.
And you're gonna build one in Mexico? Did I hear that right?
Already got the land, and we're already getting ready to break ground down in Mexico City.
What made you decide to build one there?
Because the talent that I know will come from there. You know, we have one in China. I want a couple in Mexico. We got one happening now. Going to do one in Puerto Rico, and then God knows where. Africa. I'm going to do one in Africa.
Wow.
Yeah.
How will those compare to this one?
Well, there'll be smaller versions of this. It won't be the arena. It'll just be the gym facilities. There'll be a place for them to eat, train, and have physical therapy.
But this will always be like the hub.
This is the hub.
Like you just mentioned, you're building them all over the world. It's really become a worldwide sport. And you just recently said Abu Dhabi could be a big player for UFC. Why is that?
They're going to be a massive player for UFC.
Okay.
I actually leave in 2 days to fly to Abu Dhabi, and I have the meetings to hopefully finalize these deals and get these deals done, and then I can announce them to everybody. It's going to be a big deal.
But you can't tell us why now? We have to wait?
I mean, I'd like to get the deal done before I start announcing anything.
That's fair, that's fair, okay.
The deals aren't done yet.
All right, I'll take it easy on the hard-hitting questions.
Thank you.
Coming up, Dana's rise from the ring to the reins of UFC.
The key to everything in life is knowing who you are and what you want to do.
And he's the voice that you can't miss. Correspondent Sibley Scholes talks with the one and only Bruce Buffer.
Las Vegas is the entertainment capital of the world. When you talk about football games, which is the game, America's pastime, the whole bit, why not be in Vegas?
Raiders Talk of the Nation is brought to you by Intermountain Healthcare, official health partner of the Las Vegas Raiders. Discover your inner champ at raiders.com/champ. Allegiant, the official airline of the Las Vegas Raiders. Low fares, nonstop flights. Book now, only at Allegiant.com. And by Coors Light, an official beer of Raider Nation, made to chill.
If you've heard about UFC, you've certainly heard of Dana White. But before he became a household name in MMA, White was just a guy from back east trying to make his mark. Dana, you are a really great example of you don't have to go to college to be successful. You dropped out twice. What was it about Dana in college that did not match?
My kids keep throwing that one in my face, saying, you didn't go to college. Why do we have to go to college? Yeah, you know, I think the key to everything in life is knowing who you are and what you want to do. And what I was very lucky that I knew exactly what I wanted to do and where I wanted to be. I love the fight game. Mm-hmm. So you don't go to college for that. You know, there's a different route you have to take. I took that route and I got lucky, and here I am.
Yeah, step one was boxer size, right?
Just talked about this the other. I had Mickey Ward, Larry Holmes, and Michael Spinks come to my office today. And we literally were talking about that, how, you know, when I started out, because they're actually all getting involved in that now.
Boxercise.
Yes.
Okay.
They're starting a company.
Is this like cardio boxing?
Yes, where you can go online and you can train with the pros and the champs and some of the best ever. And, you know, when I started that back then, you couldn't go train boxing like you can today. You had to go to some nasty, rough boxing gym and get your head kicked in to try to learn how to box. So me and my partner at the time took, you know, the concept of learning how to box and put it in the health clubs and out of the gym. And it was very successful. I mean, I owned 3 gyms here in town back before we started the UFC.
Right, so you were in Boston at that time, and you felt you needed to leave for Las Vegas because, and I lived in Boston too, so I get the dynamics here. Not quite about what I'm gonna ask you though. So you felt like you needed to leave because you were being threatened by the mob, and specifically Whitey Bulger.
It was Whitey Bulger's crew, yeah.
Okay. That's terrifying.
But that, yeah, listen, it was, Boston is a completely different city now than it was, you know, back in the 80s. So, yeah, they felt that I owed them money.
They felt that you owed them money.
I did not.
So you're in Vegas now, and I really love this story. So you and the Fertitta family worked to buy UFC for $2 million, and they had just sold off everything, pretty much everything, to avoid bankruptcy. And so you got an octagon and the name, and you couldn't even get UFC.com. And I love the people who bought it. It was called User Friendly Computers.
I'll never forget it.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So you had to buy it back.
So, when we were trying to get UFC.com, User Friendly Computers owned UFC.com. So I called the guy. This was I'll tell you what, this is my first business mistake that I ever made. So I wanted to buy it, and he wanted something like $15,000 for it.
Okay.
I freaked out. Are you out of your mind? This, that, everything else. So I don't buy it.
Okay.
Get into a huge fight with this guy, okay?
Because you think he should give you user-friendly computers.
I don't think it should be 15 grand for user-friendly computers, a website that nobody's going to and nobody cares about. Everybody was going there by accident looking for UFC, even though, you know, the UFC wasn't even that big then.
Yeah.
So you can imagine what happened. I get into a huge fight with this guy. I don't buy it for $15,000. The UFC just starts going like this. So user-friendly, UFC.com goes like this. I ended up paying, I want to say, $50,000 to $75,000 for it.
Wow.
When I could have bought it for 15.
Wow.
Yeah, that was one of my first big mistakes. I should have bought it for 15 and been happy to buy it for 15.
Do you keep in touch with Mr. User-Friendly
I do
Computers?
not. We never talked again after that, after I bought it.
He probably tells this story in a very different way, is my guess. So you had an octagon, the name, and eventually UFC.com. How did you wrap your head around what needed to happen to make UFC what it is?
Well, one of the first things too is that Lionsgate actually owned all the rights to the VHS, the video game, you know, all the digital rights. So we had to go back to, you know, a major studio like that and buy our rights back. And we did. You know, I'm surprised they even did that deal.
Yeah.
You know, if they were smart, they would have held on to the rights and they'd still own them today. But thank God we got that deal done.
Did they ever call you about that?
No, never heard from them.
Since then, obviously, UFC makes a lot of news. Is there a moment or a fight that stands out to you that it really put UFC on the map?
You know, after The Ultimate Fighter is really what put UFC on the map. Then after that, you know, we would bring the big stars or champions in as coaches. So after The Ultimate Fighter, I mean, the first Chuck Liddell versus Randy Couture fight was the first big. That was a big one. Yeah.
One of the biggest names that comes to mind, I think, when you say UFC is Conor McGregor.
Conor McGregor!
Do you think that the sport would be what it is today without him?
Well, the sport wouldn't be where it is today without Chuck Liddell, you know, Anderson Silva, Ronda Rousey. The list goes on and on as you go through time. All these people were all instrumental in building the UFC and taking it to another level. And then obviously when Conor McGregor came, Conor McGregor was the first global superstar. I mean, I don't know if you follow him on Instagram or anything, but you know, I think he's lost his last 3 or 4 fights, right? He's walking around Italy. Did you see him when he was in Italy? It's insane. It's like, it's unbelievable what a massive superstar this guy is. And yeah, I mean, having somebody blow up that big definitely helps, and especially in Europe. He absolutely, you know, ignited the UFC in Europe.
How's it looking for him to be able to fight before the end of the year?
He won't fight before the end of the year, but he'll fight next year.
Okay. And you just confirmed, right, that Nate Diaz has one more fight left in his contract.
Right.
Do you think that's going to be his last with UFC?
I don't know. I mean, that's up to him. You know, you get to a point, you know, everybody starts to get old, and this isn't a place you stay forever. This isn't a job. This isn't a career. This is an opportunity. So as long as you believe, and it happens to all the guys, that you're still one of the absolute best in the world, then this is the place to be. If you don't, this is absolutely positively not the place to be.
Next to Dana, Bruce Buffer is one of the biggest faces, or should I say voices, behind the UFC franchise. Correspondent Sibley Scholes chatted with the infamous announcer on the Raiders' turf.
Okay, we already know who you are. The man Bruce is in the building. You always look dapper. How are you feeling?
I feel great. You know, I had the UFC last night, the Warriors last night, now the Warriors on the gridiron today.
What makes the stadium so special for Las Vegas, and why did we need to have this NFL team here? The Raiders are everything.
Listen, Las Vegas is the entertainment capital of the world. When you talk about football games, which is the game, America's pastime, the whole bit, why not be in Vegas? Why not provide entertainment where entertainment is provided? And this is the place to be. I mean, this is the highest price ticket in the NFL, the most sought after watch game in the NFL. It's a true honor for me to be here for the Raiders.
When can we get you in the Shield, the next suit?
In which, oh, in the Shield?
Uh-huh.
You know what? You just asked me, tell me what to do. You point and I'll shoot.
You heard him, okay?
Yeah.
Bruce, thank you. You are everything. We're so glad to have you here.
Thank you so much.
Up next, we go from the UFC to the NFL.
Our team's solid right now, and I'm pretty excited for this season.
And which players on the Raiders roster Dana thinks have what it takes to square up in the ring.
Some linebackers.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, who's tougher than a linebacker? Who gets hit more than a linebacker?
This segment of Raiders Talk of the Nation has been brought to you by Modelo, a taste that's pure gold, brewed for those with a fighting spirit.
Welcome back to Raiders Talk of the Nation. Before the Raiders called Vegas their new home, the UFC was a reigning champ with fans. But is the city big enough for a takeover with the two powerhouses? Is there a football position that lends itself well to maybe succeeding in UFC?
Yeah, well, we've had a lot of crossover with football, from Hardy to OSP, who played for Tennessee, and a lot of other guys who have played football. It's funny when you think about crossover, not only with athletes, but fans. The NFL is a very big crossover with the UFC.
Have you noticed that is there a position specifically for football players that they tend to do better?
Some linebackers.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, who's tougher than a linebacker? Who gets hit more than a linebacker? I mean,
Yeah, they're used to getting hit.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no doubt about it. They're fast, they're powerful, they're athletic.
Any current UFC fighters that you know of that you think would make really great football players?
Yeah, I think that we're at a point now where, you know, early on with the UFC, there was a lot of guys that were martial artists that ended up getting into the UFC. What you're seeing now are athletes. You're seeing guys that could have played in the NFL, guys that could have played in the NBA, guys that could have played soccer, you know, baseball, whatever it might be, who decided to become fighters instead. Frank Mir, you remember Frank Mir? He was our heavyweight champion. His daughter, her name is Bella Mir, and she's from town here. This girl can do anything. She hit 18 home runs one year in softball. She's a national wrestling champion. Soccer, basketball, she played every sport. She wants to be a fighter. So someday she will end up being a fighter. But she's one of these stud athletes that could play anything. but she wants to fight.
Oh, that's great. Have you been to a football game yet here?
I have, yeah.
What would you say is the difference in the energy from a football game compared to a UFC fight?
I think when you get to any live sporting event, there's a certain type of buzz and energy that you don't get anywhere else in life. It's only at professional sports. But if you've ever been to a UFC event, and when the main event goes off, or what I call holy shit moments happen, where people jump out of their seats and look at each other, nothing else in life brings that type of energy and like spontaneous just outbursts like a game.
You're friends with Mark Davis?
Yes.
How'd you guys become friends?
So, funny story. Mark Davis is one of these guys that all he's got to do is pick up the phone and call, and we give him tickets. He doesn't. I'm assuming because he's in the ticket business, he buys his own tickets, you know?
Yeah.
So he bought tickets to the UFC event to come watch the fight, and he bought them online, and they were fakes.
No.
Yes. So Mark Davis shows up at the arena trying to get in, and he's got fake tickets.
Wow.
Yeah. So
That's how
we
you
got
met.
him in, we accommodated him, we took care of him, and he's one of the nicest guys in the world. He's a super nice guy, very down to earth, and yeah, I like him a lot. I have a lot of respect for him.
Did he call you for any advice when he was talking about bringing the Raiders to Vegas, just how to succeed here?
No, he didn't, but when he came to town, we sent him a big welcome to Vegas package and, you know, welcomed him, you know, to our hometown. And after I saw the success of the Golden Knights and how big that was, I knew the Raiders were gonna kill it.
Still ahead, what the future holds for Dana and the UFC.
I love it just as much today as I did 20 years ago.
But first, Raider Nation has some of the most loyal fans, not just in Las Vegas, but around the world.
Basically, I've been a Raiders fan since the 80s, growing up in Los Angeles.
Our team's solid right now, and I'm pretty excited for this season.
Somebody's coming. How you doing, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
Pleasure
You
to
Carlos?
meet you. Yes, sir.
Well, congratulations.
Right now,
On behalf
okay.
of Legion, I'd like to present you with $500.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Our pleasure. You bet. Thank you. And here's this is for you.
Oh my God.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
This segment of Raiders Talk of the Nation has been brought to you by Coors Light, an official beer of Raider Nation, made to chill. Raiders Talk of the Nation has been brought to you by Credit One Bank, the official credit card of the Las Vegas Raiders. Cox, proud partner of the Las Vegas Raiders. And by Allegiant, the official airline of the Las Vegas Raiders. Low fares, nonstop flights. Book now, only at Allegiant.com.
Welcome back to Raiders Talk of the Nation. From YouTube stars to food and podcasts, nothing is off limits to Dana White if it will contribute to the success of the sport. I hear you have this thing called F It Friday, and that is not what most people would think it means.
Right.
It's about food.
Right.
Is that right?
Right.
Okay, what is F It Friday?
It Friday means we're gonna eat whatever we want.
Oh.
We're gonna eat whatever we want. It's
All right.
Friday, and we're gonna kick the weekend off with something bad. And I basically search around for the craziest, worst food you could possibly eat.
So you filed to get the rights to this, right? F It Friday?
Yeah, so it's I've only been doing this thing for a few months, and it's blown up. So I just got a 6 episode deal with the Food Network.
No way.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's you eating crazy things on
Yeah,
Fridays.
Yeah, and we're
Okay.
doing a Friday food festival too.
Wow. What's
Yeah.
the grossest thing you've eaten?
Probably the best one that I've had. We made these pizzas out of, you know, you take the dough and you roll it up like a cinnamon roll, but it's actually a pizza. You make it like a pizza. Excellent. And the burger that we did a burger that is actually inside a tortilla with flaming hot Fritos and cheese and all that stuff, and it's way better than you would expect it to be.
Okay,
Very,
I'll
very
take
good.
your word for it
Yeah,
on
you're
that
gonna
one.
have to. Yeah.
Since 2009, kind of starting with Kimbo Slice, you've always embraced digital stars. How did you know even back then that was going to be such a big and helpful move for you?
I'll tell you why. Originally, when we first started, literally no media would cover us. So everything that was done in promoting the UFC was done online, whether it was in chat rooms or some of these fan websites that had been started. I've always been a big believer in online. I also love the idea where I can talk directly to the fans and cut out the middlemen.
So you took the UFC from almost going bankrupt to where it is now. What is the secret to what you've been able to do?
I'm obviously very passionate about the sport. I love it just as much today as I did 20 years ago. And I think the key is that I was a huge fight fan. And I knew what I want. I saw all the things that I thought were broken in boxing, and I wanted to change all of them and fix everything with the UFC. Nothing is ever perfect, but we got as close to perfect as we could get.
So if the Raiders were to ask you that kind of same question, what would you say to them is really important in order to stay successful in this town?
The NFL isn't broken. The NFL is the most powerful thing in the United States, in my opinion. They created this event that is a must-see. Whether you're a fan or not, you have to watch the Super Bowl. That in itself is an incredible accomplishment. But this town loves a winner. And you know, if you look at this season, the Raiders are looking pretty good so far.
Thanks for watching Raiders Talk of the Nation. We'll be back next week with so much more, but in the meantime, be sure to follow us online for content you'll only see at Raiders.com. Thanks for joining us. I'm Kristine Leahy, and we'll see you next time.